Hello there, Internet's Mogwai here, and I got another Legends of Runeterra video for you guys today. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we do not feel like cooking. Today we're gonna take those frozen nuggets out of the freezer and we're gonna enjoy ourselves some cold food. We're not even gonna heat it up, we're gonna eat it as it is, as we're playing TAHM KENCH outside of Target. I forgot even like what it was. I was gonna say Soraka, but yeah, Target. We're taking TAHM KENCH out of his regular environment, and we're gonna showcase the fact that you can play TAHM KENCH in other decks and actually do well, as I have designed an anti-meta deck. Like I said yesterday, I'm gonna start sharing a lot of lists with you guys that do really well against Thresh Nasus, because Thresh Nasus is extremely popular as of right now, but it's not an unbeatable deck. The thing is, it's a very strong deck, and even if you do design a counter for it, you have to play the matchup properly, because Nasus into Atrocity is an extremely threatening late game win condition that, if piloted correctly, can overcome even a bazillion Frostbites. Like you have to be very, very mindful with your resources. And I say this because this deck, as cool as it is, pun intended, it's also really hard to play. Like, I really want to emphasize this in today's deck. This deck is perhaps one of the hardest decks I have had to pilot with in a while. It's very punishing. If you just you can play perfectly the entire game, but if you make one mistake, it all goes to boot. Because it all goes to boot. Is that even an expression? I don't know. The thing is, that's the kind of champion TAHM KENCH is. TAHM KENCH is a champion that can net you insane value by removing units every turn for very little mana, but he's also a double-edged sword in that sense. If your opponent is able to disrupt him and remove him, then all the mana that you spent and all the momentum that you gain can be lost within an instant, right? And that, alongside other aspects like the fact that we revolve around Frostbites to answer certain threats, can be very hard to play with, because a lot of times we want to keep TAHM KENCH alive, and according to the matchup, we actually don't have to. We need to know when to commit to our Frostbites, when to go for our ASHE attacks, and there's just a lot of things to take into account. It's hard for me to explain in the deck tech, everything that you need to know about playing this deck, because I'm still making mistakes myself. But the thing that I want to let you know is that every single loss that I had while optimizing and testing out this deck prior to my recording session were games that were perfectly winnable. Just one mistake that threw it all out the window. But I love decks like these. I love decks in which I'm the one at fault for losing, right? I think this deck has a lot of potential in that sense. Not only is this really good against Thresh Nasus, it's also very good against anything that's Demacia. It's also fantastic against the likes of Zoe Lee Sin as well. Because of your Frostbites, you can stall Lee Sin again and again, and they hate, like Lee Sin, Zoe hate TAHM KENCH because they don't play Will of Ionia, they don't play Homecoming, they play stuff like Concussive Palm, so they have no way of effectively removing TAHM KENCH besides challenging him. So as long as we preserve our Frostbites properly, we can completely shut them down. But you gotta play the matchup very, very safely, because all of a sudden, if you slip up and only have one Frostbite in hand because you got a little bit greedy with another one, then all of a sudden your opponent could go with a proactive Bastion and kill you with Lee Sin out of nowhere, right? Like, these things can happen, so keep that in mind. Regardless, let's talk about the deck. Let's explain what this is all about. So as you guys can see, we have an ASHE TAHM KENCH deck. We're utilizing TAHM KENCH alongside Frostbites because every round we create and acquire Taste in hand, which allows us to swallow an enemy unit. The unit strikes us back, but if the unit is frostbitten, aka frozen, it cannot really strike. So TAHM KENCH just eats the popsicle and doesn't really have any indigestion problems whatsoever. So it's actually fantastic. It's, as a person with acid reflux, like, it is my dream to be able to eat like TAHM KENCH does. I never will be able to, but I can at least admire the ability, right? So the rest of the deck is comprised of multiple Frostbite effects. As you guys can see, not only are we playing a full set of Three Sisters, but we're also packing in hard on the Frostbites as well. We got double Brittle Steel, triple Flash Freeze, and double Harsh Winds alongside a full set of the Icefield Archer as well. We even have a one-off of Babbling Burk, which initially is there to pick up ASHE, which can translate into another Flash Freeze if we have an ASHE on the board already. But in another scenario, it can also pick up another unit that we have buffed prior with the Starlit Seer. This guy is perhaps the MVP, low-key the MVP of this deck, because we have a very high density of spells. We have 19 spells in total, which allow us to really get Starlit Seer going off. Also, something that's important to note is that cards like Three Sisters proc Starlit Seers twice, because of the 1 mana from the original one and then the fleeting spell that we create afterwards, right? So if we manage to get 2 Starlit Seers on the board, our units are going to be absolutely massive, and we benefit from every single one of our units being bigger. Our Challenger Rhymefang Wolf being more resilient is very important. Ashe having more thickness to her, let's go with that, is also very key. And of course, TAHM KENCH, a big boy TAHM KENCH being hard to kill. I've had like 12 TAHM KENCHs. Well, that's not true. It would be actually 8-12. 8-12 TAHM KENCHs, and that's just like, I don't know, absolutely glorious, as he's extremely hard to kill. Because Thresh Nass's decks are not running Vengeance, they have, the only way they have of dealing with this is the Sand Spinner, by giving him vulnerable, which we can counter with Frostbites, and Black Spear. So you got to keep in mind that against the Thresh Nasses, you have to do everything within your power to not allow TAHM KENCH to take any damage, especially not have him be at 4 health or lower, because that means that Black Spear can take him out, which is why, you know, Frostbites, and we have a lot of ways to preserve our engines, not only TAHM KENCH, but our Ashe, our Starlit Seer, which is a really strong engine as well, because we're running not only a full set of Troll Chant, but also a full set English of Elixir of Iron as well. This card is forgotten a little bit, but it's actually really, really good. One of the better 1 mana combat tricks in the game, really. Giving +2 health for just 1 mana is something that a lot of players don't expect at this point. But we can even go further. We can even use Three Sisters to fish us a Fury of the North to give our unit +4 health for that round too. So we have many different ways of keeping our units healthy, and as long as they don't have hard end removal like Vengeance, which like I said is not very popular right now, even though in Lysandra Trundle it does exist, that's very, very key, right? You have to, with this deck, you have to assess the matchup, right? If you're running into a hard, like full-on control Shadow Owls, then Howling Abyss is your win condition. That's why we're running this. Initially, I had triple Howling Abyss and I had no Ashe, and I wanted to just have a Howling Abyss deck, but there's a lot of matchups in which, honestly, Howling Abyss is too slow. So by incorporating Ashe, I became a mid-range deck, and I became a really scary one at that. Like, Ashe is a legit win condition with this sort of build, as we can just keep on removing the opposing board, making their board stay thinner, and then having our leveled up Ashe deny their blockers as we slowly but surely take them down. But against matchups that drag out even further than that, we have to worry about board wipes. That's where Howling Abyss comes in, providing us insane value back to back, and just making sure that we never run out of gas. So this deck is very flexible in that regard. Kyling Tavern Keeper is also absolutely crucial for any sort of deck that is aggressive. We need that 3 mana play that heals our Nexus 3. Like, it actually does go a long way. I think, you know, I don't have to explain as to why. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the deck list right there. We have a one-off of Rhyme Touch Shaman, which can be absolutely amazing, but through my experience, running multiple copies of her can be a bit of a liability, because you need, like, a lot of times it's hard to get her on the board, and most of the time I'd rather have Rhyme Touch Shaman receive buffs from Starlit Seer. So by only having one, it makes it so that my chances of not drawing her too early and drawing her later down the line in a beefed up state are significantly higher. That's why a one-off of her has worked wonders. But going beyond that has always presented diminishing returns for me, as we have a full set of salvage to make sure that we don't run out of gas in the mid game, and that's all there is to it. So yeah, put a lot of thought into this deck, spent all day yesterday optimizing it and tweaking it, and I'm very happy I did. This is one of my favorite decks ever, one of my favorite archetypes ever. I love TAHM KENCH. Honestly, he's one of my favorite champions. Whatever, I don't care, Timmy. Shut up. Regardless, yeah, that's basically all there is. I'm rambling at this point. I'm just really excited to share this deck, man, because I love it. I love this. I played this deck all day yesterday, and I was not bored ever. It was nuts. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed as much as I did, and that's basically it. Today's gameplay is interesting. You'll see what I mean. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's certainly interesting, and I think it's pretty good. So it showcases all facets of deck. That's for sure, and that's why I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. Have a solid day. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for daily Legends of Runeterra content. Leave a like for frozen food and unhealthy eating styles and stuff. And yeah, love ya. I'll see you tomorrow. Definitely the matchup I was expecting, and the matchup I am excited for. Nice. I like pretty much everything about this hand, honestly. Like the Kyling Tavern Keeper on turn 3 upon their attack, you know, the Brutal Steel early on and the TAHM Kench and Starlit Seer, like there's absolutely nothing to change. In fact, this is pretty much the ideal hand, honestly. It depends on what we draw. Like an ideal opening hand does not deal an ideal game. An ideal opening hand does not mean an ideal game. I have to speak slower. Because we are at the mercy of our draws from this point onwards, but it's a good place to start, that's for sure.
We see through all.
Who goes there? Really? Vermin. I'm recording, right? Alright. Get such a sick opener, it would suck if I forgot to record. We're at attack. Very interesting. So no threat of Blighted Caretaker right now. And no need for us to play Nani. So take the jet off. Gonna play the Howling Tavern Keeper. You know, heal a little bit. We'd rather get the 3/3 on the board now. Capitalize on lack of blockers. Get another good hit off of there. Pass over initiative without committing our TAHM Kench until he depletes a little bit of his mana.
Pride was my end, and it will be yours.
Oh my lord, this Brittle Steel.
Our diet is expensively unique.
They're coming. They're coming. And this Brittle Steel is pretty damn good. Let's see if we find something else though.
There's a meal.
Because we can't really do much else.
There you are.
Alright. I have to be wary of.
Disintegrate.
Perfect. That's much better. I'm really happy that they resort to the Bakai Sand Spinner. Because that it is the target that I want to Frostbite. I think I'm going to go for a Harsh Winds here, though. Just because I don't want my TAHM Kench to take any damage.
An auspicious season.
I don't get to play my Acquired Taste, but like I said, I want to keep my TAHM Kench alive. And if I take 2 damage from his sapling, then that means that Black Spear knocks me out.
I'm sure there's something for my tastes.
Let's think about things here. 5 cards in hand. He's spread out already. Taking a little bit of damage. Developing on the board is pretty important. We carry over 2 mana next turn, which allows us to have 9 mana. 9 mana gives us the options of going for Brutal Steel, Harsh Winds, and this, or potentially several.
My comestibles are getting cold.
Up there in the mountains.
Up there in the mountains!
No such thing as yet.
We're gonna go for the Babbling Burk just to develop an extra body on the board. The thing, we're gonna be using TAHM Kench here to apply some pressure. What I mean by this is that we're gonna make him burn mana. We're behind on tempo.
Don't require a menu.
That's a thick Ashe. Alright.
Fall to pieces.
I've carved meat bigger than you. Bar the doors.
It's a lot of damage we're taking in though.
This will be a good winter.
Let's talk about your tan.
Blessed by snow and stars. season.
They forgot. You cannot.
I will unite the Freljord.
I'm gonna play Ashe, even though I am vulnerable to a Black Spear. That may encourage him to throw the Black Spear towards Ashe. Alright.
I'm sure there's something for my taste.
It's a powerful draw.
Avarosans!
Stand together!
Avarosa, guide me!
This would be a good winter.
Oh, fresh soil.
Bring me the calm of an ice-shrouded world.
I threatened to take away his Undying there, which allows me to set up this. Okay. Unspeakable Horror is not a card that you tend to see over Vile Feast, but I assume that's because he's setting up for a Black Spear.
Ice runs in our veins.
The ordering of that doesn't really work out for us, but I mean, we got blockers. We got blockers. It's too much damage. Too much damage. But taking this harsh winds may be a bit of a problem. I think it's fine now.
My comestibles are getting cold. An auspicious season.
I'm gonna discourage him. 'Cause right now I have a heavy mana disadvantage here. He's playing Vile Feast as well, okay. Not really worried about this now. I mean, what if he can manage to kill this? I think I'd rather take you out. It's safer. It's safer overall.
Excuse my impertinence. Blessed by snow and stars.
Because I don't wanna have it so that the downside of me losing TAHM Kench brings him another unit.
Sends chills up my spine.
Let us peruse this establishment's fare.
Alright. Well, I definitely want to try to deal with this. Because if he has, all right. Ooh, okay. All right, we get rid of Thresh.
All shall drown.
In my magnificence. All right, let's digest a little bit, shall we? Pray, fitting. Good stuff, good stuff. That's one of the things that you gotta be very, you gotta be very patient with TAHM Kench. TAHM Kench is he's a hard champion to play in a deck like this. He's much harder to play than in with Soraka, you have to be very careful. You have to be very patient in this deck. This matchup is very winnable, but the thing is you could have a Ruination. I'm gonna go for the Crystal Arrow.
This is the power of an Iceborn.
See if I can get a unit.
An auspicious season.
See what we see. So
6, 9. That's a lot of damage. You can still Ruination us though. That's the problem. You can still Ruination, but this is okay.
Swiftly now.
That's 9, 10. I wonder if he plays Vengeance. That's 9. So that gets him up to that much. What if we if we do this, he takes 4 more damage, goes down to 5. It's not worth us going for a Fury of the North. We gotta preserve that. I wonder if it's worth going for a Howling Abyss.
My comestibles are getting cold.
Feathers! Alright, good hit there.
What delightful agony we shall inflict. My dear, promise a safe return.
Let's get the Howling Abyss in there.
Require many.
That's good. Having another Frostbite is good. He's spread out, but his ward is pretty weak right now. I always gotta be able to counter the atrocity. As long as I do that.
Cycle begins anew.
a true Freljordian welcome.
Setting up another blocker and making his attack even worth less. There's no threat of yeah, that's fine. It's completely fine.
The Guru follows.
Stay back.
You'll make a fine totem.
Some damage here as it goes up to 1, and then I can swallow that up.
Excuse my impertinence.
Nice. Should always have. I mean, how can he punish this? Double. I mean, if he had it, he would go for it, right? Yeah, it's not worth it. Is it? I mean, for 6 mana, double Black Spear, but that's it. I'm not gonna be a pussy.
I will unite the Freljord.
I'm playing Ashe. I gotta go for the attack. Yeah. There is a thing as playing around too many things.
Ice runs in our veins.
Appetizers of plenty.
As the arrow flies.
Let's digest Nasus and go for the kill. Woo! There we go. Nice.
The war is over. Now we rebuild.
Well, we got a few more games to go, but sure, Ashe, sure. I agree. Ah, man, that was great. That's the intent behind that deck. I mean, we faced a weird version of the deck with the Undying, but arguably the Undying is scarier, right? Though, to be fair, as long as we get TAHM KENCH and we're able to shut down and just like, we never ended up swallowing the Undying because there was always a better target for some weird reason. You know, we're always gonna prioritize Nasus because we can't risk all of a sudden becoming vulnerable to like an atrocity. You know, even though we're always gonna play with that in mind. The reason why I was doubting playing Ashe there was because the threat of double Black Spear or Black Spear into Vile Feast. But I feel he would have tried to go for it earlier. And you know, there is such a thing as being too safe, right? Being too cautious. Like we give the opponent more momentum and tempo than they actually should have. So I'm happy I took that line of play. So nice, not bad for game 1. That was a pretty long ass game though. I mean, this deck is slow. Keep that in mind. But games are pretty long. Let's go for round 2. All right. Anivia. This matchup is different, but because they have Vengeance and stuff, right? So TAHM KENCH is less reliable, but Howling Abyss is an important win condition here. Brittle Steel isn't, Salvage is, Troll Chen is alright, but we have to, you know, we have a very different game plan here. Starlight Seer is very nice, the kind of card that we want to see. We want to apply pressure, right? But we also want to look forward to this as a win condition. It's funny how we played the Howling Abyss last game, but we didn't end up using it. I mean, sometimes we get, you know, meh champions like Lulu and Shen. But some other times we get really crazy shit like Ezreal. Like when we get Ezreal with this deck, it's insane, you know? Like we just go turbo. But basically, Howling Abyss gives us the ability to go deep into the late game against control decks. That's the main purpose. So Howling Abyss does shine in matchups like this. Who goes it? I wanna not be vulnerable
What will you have?
to a. What if he ramps? I mean, he can just ramp next turn anyways.
These eyes see all.
What's that? Yeah, I can just ramp next turn. We still got some damage on him. It'd be nice to get some protection though. Okay, there's Anivia. Avalanche could be a thing.
This would be a good winter.
I like seeing that Kylie Tavern Keeper because it can be used to protect our units. If he goes for an Avalanche, I can heal up my Starlit Seer next turn. I don't want to play Ramfang Wolf because an Avalanche opens me up for like a followed up.
Warm hearts and hot soups.
Ooh.
I will unite the Freljord. Something ancient stirs. Show me a target.
This one's on the house. Vermin.
Could do boom boom.
Blessed by snow and stars.
That way my units take no damage guaranteed.
I've carved meat bigger than you.
Playing around Ice Shard maybe?
For my homeland.
I don't want to give him a Rekindler. Need to think here though. I don't want to kill Anivia. I want to force him to have to kill Anivia. I'm worried about a Gluttony though, which is why I should keep this in my hand. So let's just take the hit.
A world in perfect stillness.
Could play an Avalanche though. I think in order to save up against the Avalanche, if he avalanches, I can build up afterwards. Better pass. Because if he avalanches, I can heal up my Ashe. Okay, so he untreats. He has a harsh winds.
An auspicious season. Welcome to the tipsy hour. Here beyond.
Could Ruination if I commit more. I mean, if he Ruinates, I can eliminate his Anivia. Could also Avalanche though.
A true Freljordian welcome.
We're gonna force a harsh winds out of him this way. While also preventing his Anivia from dying still. Which... Wow. Or not. Okay. Alright.
Eternal winter. Snow, wind, and ice.
If it's a fight they want,
I want to use this to cycle through my deck.
an auspicious season. Blessed by snow and stars. And feathers.
Okay. Well, at least we got to see a good portion of his hand. We also know he has an Anivia there. Nice. We're Lisa in now, boys. Again, we're focusing on not killing Anivia.
Master yourself.
Master your enemy. I don't know if playing Lee Sin here was correct, but I do want to threaten my opponent with an open attack.
The enemy quivers with fear.
The enemy quivers with fear. If he goes for an ice shard now, I would be a little bit shocked. What if he goes for Ruination after this? I have the chances of getting an insane hit off on him, right? 2 mana. If I go 4, I have 6, which means I have 2 and 3. I don't have the ability to kill them, but I can certainly do certain things, right?
They all fear something.
This Nocturne is too powerful, and I have a feeling he doesn't have Ruination. I have a feeling he has something like you know, Withering Wail or the likes.
Prepare yourself.
go ahead. We have the Twin Sisters for a Fury of the North. And the Lee Sin here allows us to threaten lethal on this side. Yeah, there's the Anavia. Our twins. Come on, Crunchytroll. Come on, commit this. This is the biggest mistake of your life, but do it. Do it! Do it! Yes! 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 Oh my Wamu. For a second, I can't play that card? Shindado! Okay, he's enabled the Rekindler.
A new era begins.
Whew, okay. But we gotta make sure that we don't die. I mean, he's only lost one Anavia. That's the thing. We kept track of that. See, now he's finally enabled the Rekindler. But now we're not vulnerable to like a lethal here. We're gonna lose a good portion of our board though. Is Aurelian Soul worth it? It's a lot of damage, but I think Aurelian Soul has to be worth it. Oh my goodness.
Your favorite star.
I created it.
Snow, wind, and ice.
Alright, so we lose Yinjinx.
I'm trying to shoot you.
You cannot escape.
We're not gonna draw next turn. Uh-oh, are we not gonna have an... Oh no. Miscounted.
I do live
Fuck me.
audience.
Fuck me. Fuck me, I miscalculated there. I have too many cards. Ah! Glimpse Beyond also counters me. Ah, fuck me, dude. Fuck me.
Patience is underrated.
God damn it, I drew too much. This is what I'm talking about. Like small mistakes like this can cost you the game.
Strike firm. Center your spirit.
Oh, there's 2 spells in his hand.
Who goes there?
There is hope.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This drops. 7, 8, 9, 10. We don't need to play any more units. We have 3 blockers for 3 attackers. We still take too much damage, right?
The cosmos
Man.
will collapse eventually.
That hurt us so bad. That hurt us so bad. That damn overdraw. Okay. I can't play TAHM KENCH because I'll overdraw as well, dude. Fuck overdrawing, man. God damn it. I have to play you.
Locked and ready.
I need another blocker. Alright.
Now they'll pay attention.
I bring the storm.
Fly away while you can.
Stay back.
Abject failure. This will be a good winter.
Save the homestead.
Then kindle anew.
Alright, there's a gluttony there.
Darkness.
We gotta play Nocturne. Okay, heals up. Alright. Alright. Okay.
My, how they stare. Not my sons of creation sleep.
You can't Runation anymore?
Cold and unforgiving as moonlight.
How you stop this? I'm wide, son. I'm going wide. I'm going in. With Nocturne turning out to be the MVP. Oh! Oh! There we go! There we go, baby! Oh! Oh! Yes! Perfect. Perfect end quote. That was my second game. That was my second game. Oh my god, dude. Oh. I was so frustrated because that game should have ended the moment I got a Brilliant Soul, but I was so pissed off by the fact that I overdrew because of the positioning on my Howling Abyss. Because if my Howling Abyss was to the right of Brilliant Soul, I would have gotten the Celestial card first to enable the Supernova. But yeah, Aurelion Soul was cool and all, man. But honestly, that back-to-back Nocturne was sick. Like, leveled up Nocturne is a great pull from Howling Abyss. And you know what? I showcased what the deck is all about entirely, really. Like, I showcased the TAHM KENCH ASHE aspect of it, and I showcased Howling Abyss against control decks as well. So, you know, even though it's only 2 games, I'm honestly happy with this live session. And yeah, like I knew the games were gonna be long with this deck because this deck is slow. But I was expecting to get at least 3. But man, we're like 50 minutes in, and I can't do this to Gabby. I can't have her edit such a long video. I gotta, you know, it's a marathon. You know, we gotta keep it steady. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, even though it's only 2 games. Try out this deck; it's fun as hell, and it's really, really, really good in this meta. Like honestly, it is deceptively good. It can take on anything, but it is very hard to pilot. Like keep that in mind, man. It's very punishing. Like any small mistake can just go a huge, like, it's, misplaying is very punished with this, you know, more so than in other decks. So keep that in mind, right? Just play the deck first, go at it with a mentality of like, I'm gonna have fun with it and learn, you know, don't try to like, you know, because I know a lot of my subs can, or my viewers in general can get frustrated with some of my decks because they can be tricky at first, right? But just keep that in mind. regardless, because I put a lot of thought into this. Like, this deck is as optimized as it can be. Like, I don't think I can make this better. This deck, it has been working wonders for me, but I did spend all day, man, all day, because I started off without Ashe and focusing completely on the Howling Abyss, but I'll probably have explained this in the deck anyway, so I'm not going to make this any longer than needed. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for daily Legends of Runeterra content. Leave a like for frozen food or cold food, and I'm going to stop talking. This whole day, I'll see you tomorrow.